Hello guys, welcome to the next video in the PyQt series. Alright, in this video we're going to cover radio buttons and checkboxes. Okay, as you can see, I'm open up on the workspace folder. I've moved our previous project, if you've been following along from a previous video, into a new Hello World folder. So there is all the files we created last time. And then I created a radio and check buttons folder in which we're going to create this new project. Alright, open up your designer. We're going to create a simple application to calculate the price of chips and burgers. So let's start with a widget. First I want to drag 3 radio buttons on here. These radio buttons, we're going to add it to a group box. Let's drag it into the group box. And then inside the group box you can set the layout. So we're going to set this as vertical layout. Let's put this over here. I'm going to call this burgers. So let's say there is a large one of let's say $6. There's a medium one of say $5 and a small one of $4. Alright, and to illustrate checkboxes, let's drag 2 checkboxes on here. So this will indicate whether or not the client wants chips, and we're going to say this is, for instance, $4 and or a cool drink, and let's make that $5. Alright, so the layout of the form, I can right click here and select layout, and we're going to put everything in let's do a grid layout. Okay, last but not least, we need a title field, so I'm going to add a label. Add a label there. We're going to drag this so it's visible right across the bottom of the screen, and that should do it. Okay, next we're going to change the names of all the objects so it's easier to reference them in code. So I'm going to start here, call that checkbox chips. This is always a good idea to do once you start your coding. Let's call that check cool drink. Radio button large, radio button medium, and small. And this will call label total. Alright, once that's done, let's save it. We're going to save it under our workspace, radio button, check button. So I'm going to copy that, just paste it in here. Alright, so there we can save it, and I'm going to call this view radio button and check button. So I'm going to save that. Let's go to our folder. So there's a UI file we just created. So now we need to convert this into a Python script. So let's create a new text document. I'm going to copy that and just change this to CMD so we can get our batch file. Click yes. We need to edit our batch file. I'm going to write Python user interface convert 5. The target file is going to be the .ui file, and the output file is going to be .byw. Save that. Let's double click our batch file, and there it generated our byw file. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up PyCharm. Okay, create a new project. In here I'm going to paste our project location. The interpreter, make sure you click the existing interpreter and click create. And saying the project not empty, you would like to import the files, yes. Close this and let's open up our view. So once it's open, we should be able to right click on this and run it. And there's our form. So what we want to do is, once the user click on any of these buttons, we want the price to update here down below. Alright, we're going to start by creating our controller and then importing the view into the controller. So go back to the workspace folder. Let's create a new file. Call this controller radio check button. And this is going to be a .py file. As a rule of thumb, I use PYW files for views and PY files for controllers. PYW files is widgets files and PY files is just a normal Python script. So let's open up our controller. And we start off by first importing from PyQt 5, import Qt widgets. Next up, we're going to import the view. And then we're going to create our class. Let's capitalize that. Controller radio check. Let's inherit from Qt widgets.qWidgets. We created the widget app, so we can inherit from qWidgets. Next up, we create our init function. We're going to pass two parameters, self and parent, equals this to none. And we need to call the qWidget dot init function. And also here we're going to pass self and parent. Oh, I can't type today. Then you want to create the view. So let's say self.userInterface equals view dot, and we're looking for the class name here, user interface form. And because it's a class, we're going to put two brackets. Next up, we're going to call a method. We can set up UI, so this will create the view. Alright, then finally we need to set this controller up to be executable. So I'm going to type if name equals to main. I'm going to import system. App is going to equals Qt widgets q application system.argument value. Alright, next we're going to create an instance of our controller. Call that C controller. And because it's a class instance, we're going to put in brackets. And then we want to show the form, so c.show. This show function, by the way, gets inherited from qWidget. So you don't see that we did not create any show definition here, but it's inherited from qWidget. Again, then finally, I'm going to do system.exit application.execute. Okay, and again I forgot my colon here. Let's run this. And again, I forgot the self there, the setup UI method. Alright, this should run. Alright, next we want to connect the radio buttons and the checkboxes. So once they are clicked, so that they update this label below. To do that, we're going to connect each radio button and each checkbox individually to one function. So let's start with the connection. The connection is done in the init statement. So self.userInterface.radio button dot clicked dot connect, and we're going to connect this to a function we're going to create in a moment called self dot, let's call it calculate. Alright, so I'm going to do this for all three the buttons. Okay, there's all three radio buttons connected to the function called self.calculate. Next up, we're going to connect the checkboxes. So self.userInterface.checkboxchips.clicked connects to the same function, calculate. Alright, so I created the cool drink checkbox as well. So last thing to do is to create the method, the define calculate. Alright, so we're gonna make use of if statements to determine the total price. Alright, so let's start with a variable tool.total. Initialize it to 0. Okay, next up we're going to type if self.userInterface.radio button large dot is checked, then total plus equals, I think we said $6, else elif self.ui.medium, radio button medium is checked, then we're gonna say total plus equals 5, and then finally I added the last small one as well, plus equals 4. Alright, so that takes care of the three radio buttons. Next up, we're going to do the checkboxes. Let's start with a new if statement, self.userInterface.checkboxchips.is-checked, then total should add 4, and last but not least we're going to start another if statement, userInterface.check cool drink. If it's checked, we're gonna say total plus equal 5. And finally we want this to display in our label. .userInterface.label total .set text. We're going to start off with a $, space, and we're going to convert our total into a string and display the total. Okay, let's run this program. Once you click on any of the buttons, it should update the label. And there it is. You see everything updates correctly. We can expand this app by adding Spinbox as well. So let's go back to our designer and let's add a Spinbox. Type in here Spinbox. There it is. And I can just drop it here. For the sake of this example, we're going to assume that the Spinbox is the amount of customers. So if you like, we can put in a label there, It says number of customers ordered. Let's save this. Before I do, I just want to give a proper name to the spin box. So I'm just going to call it spin customer. Save that. Let's go to our workspace. Run the bat file so it regenerates that view. Open up PyQt. And if we run the program now, we should see a spin box. Alright, there it is. So now we need to connect this to the update the label. Alright, the first thing you want to do is to connect the editing finished signal of a spin box to the calculates method. So let's select self.userInterface dot spinbox dot editing finished. I'm going to connect this to our self.calculate method. And then if you scroll down to the calculate method, we need to multiply the total by the number in the spin box. So let's go in here and say total equals total times self.userInterface.spinbox.value. Okay, now if you run this app, once you click on the buttons, the price should update. Let's just increase the customers to 2. And there you go. Alright, this concludes our tutorial. In the next video, we're going to discuss the list widgets.